I'm training to be a pickleball pro, and last week I shared these 6 key inputs I'd be doing to reach that goal.
But there's a 7th input that I think might actually be the most important.
And that 7th input is training with the pros. So this week I'm sharing 10 tips that I learned during a training session that I had with Sammy Lee. Sammy is an up-and-coming pro who has had success in the doubles division and is now also a main draw player in singles tournaments. So I can learn a lot from him. Sammy and I are going to play out singles points, and I asked him to stop play whenever he noticed something important. Things started off a little slow for both of us, with him missing a pretty open backhand punch volley and me missing a forehand drive. Later in this video, Sammy is going to uncover why I'm missing that drive, so stay tuned. On this one, I hit a good return, but Sammy still got it to my feet and I struggled with it.
On that last one, just make sure if we are going to come all the way up to the line, come all the way up. Never stop in this middle area, really. So just if we're going to come up there, try and be a little quicker to come all the way up. If we get stuck here, I can easily get it at your feet.
Would you always get up to the line all the way, or would I concede that you're about to hit the ball and stop?
Yeah, so you have to stop when I'm about to hit it. I think in that situation, we were just a little late to come up. That's why we got caught in that zone. But in the next, whenever you're playing elsewhere, try and get all the way up if we can.
Okay, yeah. I like it.
This has been such a struggle for me so far in singles. It's incredibly difficult to make it all the way up to the line and hit a good return. There's a lot of little things that go into having the proper footwork and stroke to make it possible. This is going to be a huge deal for me moving forward, and it's something that I'm very aware of and actively working on.
Why'd you stay back there?
So I stayed back because your serve was really deep, and I didn't feel too confident getting all the way up there. I think my return was good, but I didn't think it was going to be that good because your serve just kept me back there.
Gotcha.
Sammy chose to stay back off his return, and if you watch his stroke, he's not moving forward as he hit it, so he didn't feel comfortable making it in. Anytime I can make my opponent stay back off of my serve, that is a massive advantage. But it also goes the other way. I gotta get in off my returns.
Whenever you stay back, where do you like to be positionally on the court when you're back?
Yeah, so if I just hit a serve right now, I'm probably going to be, yes, closer to the middle so I can go to and from each side. However, slightly covering this backhand side just a little bit more. And that goes for probably almost all players. Unless you really like your backhand way more than your forehand, then you might be a little bit opposite. Whereas I might be over here wanting to hit that backhand and maybe not preferring the forehand as much.
Okay, so because I served deep, you returned and you stayed back, it's like you just hit a serve. Yep. So you kind of want to shadow this side a little bit, thinking that you're going to get more balls to your forehand than your backhand.
Yeah, and especially since I hit my return down the middle, you have options to go to, but it's not like you can paint a line or anything.
Gotcha.
So since I returned down the middle, I kind of stayed towards the middle. However, if I hit my return sharp cross court, I'm going to come over a little bit more because I know you're able to hit that line now.
So based off where you return, you like to shade that direction?
Yeah, it's almost like following your shot,
yeah,
but not too dramatically or anything like that.
I like it. I like it.
What Sammy just said is super important for me to understand and have in my arsenal. If you're playing an opponent who is trying to pass you on every shot, then return to the middle and make them hit a perfect shot, because you significantly reduce the available angles when you hit to the middle. If your opponent is not hitting passing shots, then returning down the lines is safer because you're forcing them to drop straight ahead, which is tough, or cross court, which can put them out of position.
I think one thing I struggle with is and you might do it too, is just being too nice on the court, making calls.
Yep.
What's that dynamic like for you? If you have a ball that's close, are you leaning towards calling it out or calling it in most of the time like that?
Yeah, me personally, I'm going to call it in unless I fully see it out. I do not want to be the bad guy on the court that's making all these controversial calls. So yeah, unless I clearly see it out or my partner does, it's in till it's out.
So talk to me in singles, this happens to me all the time because from this angle,
yep,
the ball that's here looks in even though it's actually out.
Yeah.
So do you give yourself a little bit of leeway there to call that out?
Well, if you kind of just gotta be familiar with the court and how it works. So even if that looks in, I kind of know in the back of my head it's probably out. And you can always, most of the time you'll have a ref in a tournament and you can ask them. But if it's if you're just playing some practice games, I'm gonna be extra nice on line calls. I'm not gonna I'm not going to call them tight then.
Calling balls out is such a nuanced topic. On one hand, I want to be confident in my calls and stand by them, and on the other hand, I don't want to make a bad call and have that reputation. Thankfully, there will be refs for most pro matches that can settle any disputes, but even though it's a small part of the game, it's very significant and can be the difference in a win or a loss. The most important thing though is just don't get upset when someone makes a bad call and let it ruin your next few points.
Ow, let's go.
I'm really proud of this point. It may look simple, but it marks a huge development in my game. Just hitting shots that are difficult for the opponents to deal with is usually enough. Previously, I've gone for outright winners with small margins, and sometimes I miss. But having a willingness to rally and play a few more balls knowing I have the upper hand is greatly improving my consistency.
Hey, tell me what's more important, hitting a solid deep return or getting up to the line? Because I feel like it's really difficult for me to do both.
So one thing that Anik Lohani, if you know who he is, he was in one of the PPA finals. I was asking him about what's more important, like getting a shallow, shorter return that's nice and low, or a floating, deeper return. And to my surprise, honestly, he said he would much prefer in singles to hit a shallow, lower return, just because in that situation, you really have to brush up and get a lot of topspin to keep that ball in. It's kind of preference up to you, what you feel your strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah.
I find it difficult to hit a deep return like while moving in. I feel like I can only focus on one of those two things.
Especially in returns and singles, it's okay to be moving as you hit the shot. Like if we're standing flat-footed and then we hit our return and then we run up, that's just a lot of different things that's gonna take way too long. So if you have the ability to, like we do wanna use our momentum going forward to hit that shot deep, as well as carrying ourselves up to the line. Of course, we don't want to have like super happy feet, like just moving all over the place, just slower, bigger steps and getting up there. Word.
There's a lot to unpack there. First, I completely agree that hitting a short angle return that stays low is better than a floaty deep return. A short low return forces your opponent to decide where to drop the ball, and if they choose wrong, then it's an easy winner. While a floaty deep return allows them to unleash on a drive that might put you in a compromised position. The second thing is kind of how to get up to the line. Once again, this is something I'm really trying to uncover, and I'll share those developments as they come, but it seems to me like the top players have refined their footwork super well in returns so that they are always finishing their stroke while approaching the net. Right now, I just don't have that unlocked, so it's really tough for me to get to the net and hit a great return.
I know you watched a lot of Ben play singles. When I hit a third shot drop to your backhand, where do I position myself?
Okay, it depends on the height and the pace of your shot. If your shot is really slow and sitting up, I have so many options, and you kind of have to guess at that point if I'm way up here. But if it's relatively low, kind of just watch the paddle angle of your opponent. If you know them a little bit, then you can kind of tell which way they're going. But if it's sitting up, it's a lot easier to go cross court or wherever really. So it's a hard situation to be in.
So like best case scenario, I hit a drop that is bouncing near your feet. You're having to take it low. Like where would you position Ben or yourself on this court to cover the most?
If I'm hitting a really good drop there to the backhand, if I have time, I want to come in so I can cut off the angles. So yeah, if I'm able to, I'm going to come in, create pressure, because this is a very difficult shot.
Would you come into like around this area, like covering the line, but also most of this?
Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's going to bounce, just got to cover the highest percentage of places that they're going to hit. This cross court short little angle is a little more difficult for a lot of people, so we don't need to be fully over there. Right up the line is typically easier. So
okay, yep. Good stuff. Thank you.
This is such an important concept to understand in singles. Positioning correctly after a good drop is really challenging because you have to make a judgment call on what angles your opponent has available and then place yourself in a spot to take away as much of those angles as possible. And I think Sammy is totally right. Usually the down the line shot is a bit easier, so shading towards that side is really important. But as I get higher in the ranks, people are going to have better and better cross-court shots from this position, so I'm going to have to develop some strategy here.
We're in a facility where looking at one side is clearly easier than the other. If you're playing a tournament and it's like that, which side do you take first?
Usually I want to finish on the good side. Totally depends if it's best out of 3, 1 to 15, but usually I'll start on the bad side. Hopefully I can do okay then and be within striking distance, but usually I want to finish on the good side because finishing is when it really matters.
This is more about metagame tournament strategies, since most courts have a side that is either better visually or has more space. And Sammy is saying that he likes to finish on the side that is better, and that makes total sense. Imagine you're playing a game to 15 and you switch it 8 points. You want to start on the bad side so that the worst case scenario is you go down 0 to 8 and then can win 15 points from the good side. If you choose the good side first and go up 8 to nothing, then you only get 8 points on that side. So finishing on the better side is better.
All right, talk to me. You're in a rut, you missed 7, what do you do?
When I'm hitting my returns, almost all of them are going down the middle. What that does is it doesn't give you too many angles to hit from. A lot of people think, well, you should try and push them off the side, push them off the court. Yeah, that'll work at times, but if they can get there, they can hit line and cross, so you kind of have to guess which one. So right now I'm making you pick and choose where you want to hit the shot from the middle, okay? Right now, sometimes we're coming up a little bit, and when we go up with our body, we lose everything that we just gained there, okay?
I like that, yeah, so you're returning middle to intentionally give me less angles.
Yep, less options, and even if you go one way or the other, if I can explode one way or the other and cover it. But yeah, just know that less is more. Even though it's singles and there's only one person, the court looks huge, you want to pass them every time. Sometimes you simply can't, and you just got to place it. If you just get the ball down at my feet, there's nothing I can do with it, so. Yeah.
We talked about returning middle earlier, and he mentioned it again here. It's a great strategy against the right opponent. But the other part of this discussion is more important. Remember when I said that Sammy is going to uncover why I'm missing that drive? Well, he just did. A little over a year ago, I was playing a singles match against that pickleball guy, and Annalie and her mom were watching. One of the things they said was that I was standing up too soon in my drives, and that was causing me to mess up. Clearly, I'm still struggling with that today, and this just reaffirms that it's super crucial to stay low and finish your stroke.
The best singles tip I've ever received is, it's gonna sound pretty basic, but go for your serves. Even if they don't miss the return coming back, the serve and return are so important. So if you can get that serve hard and deep, it sets yourself up immediately. So I'd say focus on your serve. That's the biggest thing there.
A great serve is always a huge advantage. I've been trying to weaponize my serve since day 1 of starting pickleball, and Sammy reiterates that it's a very big part of the game. Gotta keep working on that. My next step on this journey is to solidify my backhand drives. Next week, I'm testing out several myths about the backhand drive to see if they are true or can be busted. You can watch that video right here whenever it comes out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.